Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello, people, and welcome to the Rational League. Did Liverpool actually play Newcastle to get Ekitike? Did he get the better deal out of both clubs? Newcastle kept their main target, of course. We'll talk about that. Chelsea are in for Morgan Rogers, trying to sell Jackson, which is going to be a chess move from Chelsea. Can they compete? We'll talk about that. Arsenal attack is revamped with Viktor Gyokeres destined to be announced today. Or they said Sunday, something like this. It's Friday today. As of now, it hasn't been announced. Eze, there is a rumor about Trossard to Crystal Palace and Eze to Arsenal. Is that attack better than Liverpool with Ekitike? We don't know who's going to be the left winger. Arsenal might get Rodrigo, might not. Liverpool might get Rodrigo if they sell Luis Diaz. And did Arsenal miss out on Rodrigo if Liverpool get him? We'll talk about this as well. Hit that like button, guys, if you're here. Jimmy Story will be joining us. We got here Rory, of course, from Rory Talks Football with us. Of course, bright as always. And Dan, of course, who is here and gloating with that Chelsea, best team in the world, of course. Yeah. How's everyone doing? We can't wait for the season to start, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm excited now. I'm ready for the season. Ready
Why
to
are you excited? Ready to be hurt again?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why? Oh, Rory's turning into negative. Oh.
No, I'm not negative. I'm just, used to being hurt. No, look, I'm excited. I'm giddy. I'm ready. Dan, by the way, I think you're muted or something. Yeah. But no, I'm excited. You see players coming through the door and you just start getting excited. So preseason starts next week. The watch on again.
Yeah. Preseason starts. I hope that you get Gyökeres and Eze at least through the door before you play preseason.
Yeah, I definitely don't think Eze would come through the door before it. Hopefully Viktor Gyökeres. I mean, we leave on Saturday, so we leave tomorrow. So yeah, I think he might be able to join up before a couple of the games. Eze, I think, will be way after. I think we've got to sell a lot to get Eze. But
really?
I'm excited.
I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought Eze is Rodrigo is if you sell a lot.
I think even to get Eze, we're gonna have to sell a lot. Like, but if we brought in Gyökeres, Madueke, Zubimendi, Norgard, Mosquera, Kepa, that's like well over 200 million without making a single sale yet.
It's not 200 million.
Yeah, Madueke is 50, Zubimendi is 60. That's 110. Gyökeres will be 60 to 70. That's like 170, 180. Norgard's 10. Mosquera's 20. So it's about 200 million without making a sale. And I think it'll be the same for Liverpool. Like Liverpool will have to sell at some point, but you look at what we can sell compared to them, where they can sell like, I mean, they've rejected like 60 mil for Diaz already, 50 mil for Nunez. Elliot, they want like 40 mil. Kwanzaa, they already sold for 40 mil. So yeah,
Kelleher.
I think Kelleher as well. Yeah.
Can I ask you something for real, bro? There's a lot of people, there's a lot of Liverpool fans, and that's a question for everyone in the panel. There's a lot of Liverpool rivals that say that fans are rattled and upset that Liverpool got Ekitike, that they got their target Ekitike. What I saw your tweet about how good Ekitike is, but what are you worried about Liverpool at all?
Yeah.
With Ekitike?
Yeah, of course I am. Like Ekitike generates a huge number of chances for himself, but you stick him in front of players like Salah and Florian Wirtz. Even the fact that his finishing is probably his biggest weakness, and he still scored 15 goals, but like it took him a lot of shots to get those goals. But he's going to have just as many chances in that Liverpool team. And then you throw in the goals that they're going to get elsewhere. Yeah, I think it is worrying. I think their attack will probably be the best attack in the league going into next season. I think that their only possible weaknesses will come from depth issues, probably at centre back and in central midfield. But other than that, yeah.
How is their attack the best in the league?
If they set up with the front four next season of Salah, Wirtz, for me, Cody Gakpo and Ekitike, especially where Gakpo and Ekitike can like rotate between being central and off the left. I think that's the best attack in the league. I don't know how else to put it. I don't know how it could not be.
Saka, Eze, and Gyökeres that I'm projecting. Is that good enough?
I don't think it's as good. No, because Eze for me is a very, very good attacking midfielder that can play off the left. I don't think he's an elite left winger. If it was Rodrigo instead of Eze, I think it's closer. But
if you were to mark them up against one another, like Salah against Saka, Eze against Wirtz, Gakpo against Martinelli and Trossard, let's say, if that's the way it stays, and then Gyokeres against Ekitike. So, like, in terms of one against one another, like Liverpool is definitely clear.
Yeah.
Salah, yes. But Gyökeres against Ekitike, I would rather have Gyökeres.
Yeah. No, that's all I agree.
Right? For the left winger, I'm not the biggest fan of Cody Gakpo. I know a lot of Liverpool fans like him. I'm not. I think he's a good player. I think it's masked by the fact that Liverpool won the league. I think he's good, but he's not like amazing. To be honest with you, I would rather have. I know that Eze is not a left winger, but I would rather have Eze. The problem is Martin Odegaard versus Wirtz, and we are judging Martin Odegaard based on last season, not the 2 seasons before. We are judging we are assuming that Martin Odegaard will be as bad as last season. And the problem is some Arsenal fans are assuming that as well. Like a lot of people are assuming that Martin Odegaard would not go back to his best. Even though there's a lot of players that had a dip in a season and they just recovered the season after. That's a big if. But what is most likely to happen? Martin Odegaard, especially with Zubamendi, to play better than last season or to stay the same as last season. I think I would bank on him at least get better than last season and go to his best over the past 2 seasons before. That is just logical speaking, especially with someone like Zubamendi who wouldn't require Odegaard to drop deep and do what he did last season of just creating from deep and going down the pitch and just collecting from Saliba and Gabriel. That would be Zubamendi's job. For Wirtz, great player, fantastic and phenomenal. Is he going to be the same in the Premier League? I don't know. I know that the term Prem-proven gets thrown a lot at people. You're not Prem-proven. But so is Gyökeres and Ekitike. They're not Prem-proven for me. But if Liverpool get Rodrigo, that is completely different. I think that changes the equation for me. Like Liverpool will be heavily favorites by far, actually. I think Arsenal will be at that time underdogs next season. And I think it's Liverpool's to lose, not Arsenal's to lose at all. I know that a lot of people say Arsenal they must win the league. Arteta's been here for a while, but I'm not sure. Like Arsenal can do so much. Like if Liverpool had that much money to sell and buy, like Arsenal can do so much. Like
but
unless they go and fork the money.
But you need to remember as well, like there's a big difference between Liverpool going for a league in terms of they have the experience of winning the league now. The pressure on Arsenal to go out and win it, like that'll come into it. Do you know what I mean? So, and even like with the Rodrigo situation, I don't know if I'm going back and forth with about bringing Rodrigo in, because the fact that there's a bit of conversation around what Diaz is actually on. I think he's on 55k, and it's what has been widely reported. Some people are saying he's on 150, similar to Gakpo and Nunes. But I think one of the reasons he wants to leave is because of his pay package. And if you sell Diaz and bring in Rodrigo and you replace them on the left wing, like the wages that Rodrigo is looking for are massive. Like you're talking like nearly Salah, Van Dijk numbers in terms of the way Liverpool's wage structure is. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if that would be the right thing for Liverpool to do, to bring in a player like that, because it's just not something that they're usually used to doing. They usually bring in players, they put them on like a significant wage, but not in terms of like a Man City, Real Madrid type thing. And I don't think, I know they are interested, but I don't know if it would be the right move. But yeah, I think I'd be happy with Gakpo.
But wouldn't you want to get Rodrigo just to prevent, if Rodrigo's on the market, wouldn't you rather get Rodrigo to prevent Arsenal from getting him? Or you don't care?
No, I wouldn't sign a player just because like to stop a rival team. It would only be if it fits into your club and like how you want to do things. Because like he could go and he could be a flop, he could be a success. You don't know. But like last season, him and Diaz, very similar amount of minutes played, almost similar in terms of GA. But Rodrigo was doing it in La Liga and Diaz was doing it in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? So, and Diaz has the experience playing in the Premier League. He'd probably demand half the wages of Rodrigo. And you're not kind of disrupting a team that has just won the league as much if you were to bring in and completely transform the front line. The thing is, as well, is with Salah going to AFCON, that's just going to throw a massive spanner in the works. So you need people that you can rely on. And I think Diaz has been relied upon, especially last season.
Yeah, I do think if you ended up signing Rodrigo, but at the expense of, I mean, surely at that point, if you'd done him and Ekitike, you'd have to be selling both Darwin and Diaz. Yeah. And if you're selling Elliott as well, you end up with a lot of quality, but then depth does become an issue. Especially if you end up with basically it's Salah, Wirtz, Ekitike, Gakpo, Rodrigo, and then Chiesa is probably not good enough, and you're losing Salah for AFCON. That means for that period you're down to like 5 attacking players, including Chiesa. Yeah, I think that's a gamble.
Liverpool will always will sign a backup forward. That is, if they sell Nunes, they will absolutely sign a backup forward. How good is that backup forward? I actually don't know.
We'll go and get Isak as our backup.
You probably will get Isak as a backup, yeah. Listen, for Arsenal, to be honest with you, the problem is we started the window with, they're going to get Rodrigo, they're going to get Gyökeres. This is going to be a formidable team with Zubimendi. And now, as Rory stated, Arsenal might not even get Eze. And they're going to end up with Madueke and Gyökeres. I don't think that is good enough to win the league.
I think we'll get one more. I think it will be... We'll get Gyökeres, Madueke, and one more.
Who's the one more?
Well, I think probably Eze. What I'm saying is it won't be Eze and Rodrigo. I don't see a world where we get Eze and Rodrigo. I think we'll get Eze or Rodrigo.
Would you rather have Rodrigo or Eze?
For me, Rodrigo. Because our left wing is the area that for me was as important as the striker in terms of upgrading. And Rodrigo, for me, is a significant upgrade on Martinelli or Trossard. Whereas Eze comes in, don't get me wrong, it's brilliant depth to have in terms of attacking midfield. Offers us something completely different centrally. Can play off the left. But I think if you're talking about upgrading the starting 11 as much as possible, I think Rodrigo for me.
Do you think Arteta will experiment with Madueke off the left a lot next season?
Yeah, I think you will. Yeah. I've watched a lot of Viktor Gyokeres highlights, and he massively benefits from having a left-footed left winger putting balls across. His running in behind in those situations is really good. A lot of his goals he scored in those situations. So, yeah, I do think, and there have been various journalists that have said that Madueke is coming into play a lot, and like fundamentally, he's just not going to play ahead of Saka that much unless Saka's injured. So, it has to be off the left. And I do think, if you sell Trossard, which I think we should at this point, between Martinelli, Madueke, and then possibly Eze, you've got 3 very different options that can all play off the left there. That offer different things. So I wouldn't at all be mad at it. I just think Rodrigo elevates you more.
To be honest with you, like this Madueke thing that went to Arsenal and him now being Arteta saying that he's not a backup. I believe he's going to be a backup for Arsenal, to be honest. He just can't come out and say that, oh, I just spent 50 million pounds on a backup player. He has to think he's going to get a lot of minutes. But in my opinion, Arteta would be stupid to spend that much money if he is planning to have Madueke as a starting left winger. Unless they scout the guy, and I don't know how. Like, I'm watching the guy. He's good, but he's not great. You're trying to win. You're trying to get the better of Liverpool, not the likes of Aston Villa or Chelsea. You're trying to get the better of Liverpool. And Liverpool have very good players up top. You might need to actually get better than Madueke. And I don't know why this 50 million is just... If this prevents you from getting Rodrigo, it's kind of strange.
But this is the dilemma we've always said about when you have to try and find someone to back up a player of Saka's quality. Like, if you want to go better, if you wanted to go better than Madueke this window, have any better right wing players gone for any less than Madueke? No.
So right wingers is fine.
55 mil for Alanga, 71 mil for Mbeumo. Like, I think it's difficult. So you bring in Madueke, and I think if he can play off the left and he can back up Saka, and Arteta does think he can improve certain parts of his game, don't get me wrong, I think 52 mil is an overpay. But I don't know if maybe I've just lost track of the market at this point, because I also think Alanga was an overpay. I think Gittins was an overpay. I think Mbeumo's an overpay. So it might just be that the market has shifted. But like I said, it's very difficult to find someone that you'd be comfortable enough. Like, I'd be comfortable with Madueke filling in for Saka for a period of time. There would be a drop-off, but I'd be comfortable. It's very difficult to find someone that would be comfortable being a backup to Saka.
Madueke backup for Saka, Rory. Madueke backup for Saka. Dan, you can actually join on him. Madueke backup for Saka is actually great. The problem is, if that prevents you from getting a left winger, that would be the problem. I'm not gonna sit here and be disingenuous and say, oh, Madueke signing is shit. No. Madueke signing raises Arsenal floor, and massively, by the way. We need to remember that just a year ago, Arsenal had Reece Nelson as backup for Saka, and that wasn't good enough. Now you got Madueke, which is very good. Now you go and improve that left winger and have Martinelli as the backup, or even Trossard as the backup. You're in for a great season, because people forget that Arsenal midfield and defense is very good, right? Like, it's probably some of the best in the league. Yeah, the midfield last season really underperformed, but overall, the midfield, we saw them against City, we saw them against Chelsea, against even Liverpool, against Real Madrid. They were great. Against PSG. Real Madrid, Arsenal midfield was not good, was not bad at all. But the problem is that left winger. But comes the question that I need to ask. Do people think that every team needs to go to the season with every single position as a superstar? I think that's what Arsenal fans think. Like, when I watch a lot of Arsenal content creators, including myself, by the way, when I talk about it, we are talking like Arsenal must get Rodrigo, Gyökeres, Saka, Odegaard at his best, Zubamendi at his best. Like, okay, so if Arsenal have every single position as one of the best in the world, okay, Arsenal must be like winning everything then. But that doesn't happen in football. Even Liverpool last season played with Robertson, makeshift DM in Gravenberch, and he worked like a charm. They played Diaz up top, and it worked. You know what I mean? Arsenal even played Moreno up top. That is the problem with people thinking now, like, yes, in ideal world, Arsenal must get everything that they need, but in the same time, sometimes you'll have to just raise your floor and just hope for the best.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what I think.
But that's always the thing. There's people that want us to go and spend, when they actually list off the amount of things they want us to do, it ends up being like 400 or 500 million quid, which is obviously unrealistic anyway, for us at least. And then if you did go and do that, there's still no guarantee that you win the league, because of the quality of other teams that are in the league. And then those same people will be sat there saying, oh my God, Arteta spent £1 billion, we have to win, sack him, and all this. So look, there are some fans that will just never be happy and never be satiated by what we do. But I think realistically, if we came out of this window with Gyökeres, Madueke, Eze, Zubamendi, Norgard, Mosquera, Kepa,
it's fantastic. I think 8.5.
Yeah, I think that's a very, very good window. And I think it leaves us with far fewer holes going into next season, which is important.
What you're trying to do is you're trying to increase the likelihood of you winning the league. Do you know what I mean? So like people would say the more quality you bring in, the more them players will obviously help you win the league. It's simple maths in terms of how football fans will think about it. But yeah, sometimes there's something to be said about obviously bringing in, say, a select few players you feel like they can obviously bring you to where you want to be. I think Arteta, yeah, I think if he's gonna push. If he brings in Eze, he won't bring in Rodrigo, like Rory said. I think if he feels like Madueke can play off the left, he has cover then for Saka. He'll have Martinelli that can fit in, and then Madueke can push to right if Saka gets a big injury again. Eze can kind of rotate between him and Odegaard, and then you've got Gyokeres up front. I think that's the way he'll do it. I think to be, because I'm a bit worried about it with Liverpool too. I feel like you just have to win the league, and then you go out and you basically have 5 players from that team that have won the league that are gone, and you have 5 new ones coming in. And I add to that with Salah going to AFCON, like it's 6 players from a team that has just won the league, like, and you're missing your star man for 6 weeks of the league. So sometimes there's stuff to be said about just adding that little bit of quality and then working with them players to get you over the line, rather than just bringing in loads of new players and completely change your team. Because what are they going to do? They're going to change the style. Are the players that they bring in going to be able to adapt to that style? Are they going to be able to play the same way? Like, there's a lot of moving parts, but Arteta, he's like, he'll have this season, I think, and most Arsenal fans will agree that from where he's where to get us to this point, the rational ones will say that he does deserve the chance to go and try and get them over the line next season. But if he doesn't,
Eze will play left wing. I think Eze will play left wing.
But he's not, like, if you talk to most like Palace fans and like what they say, like with him potentially leaving, they would say don't play him left wing. He's not a left winger, because they feel like his best position is 10. Do you know what I mean?
So like, why are you assuming that Arteta will not change the way he plays?
No,
why not have Miles Lewis-Kelly going forward,
if you're bringing it
holding the line, and Eze is left wing, and then he comes in inside the pitch? Like, why are people assuming that Arsenal plays the same way?
No, but if you bring in one of the best, so let's just say one of the best 10s last season, won an FA Cup for his team, and he's 27 now. If he was able to play left wing at a very good level, he would have played there more. But he's able to play as a 10, and that's his best position. So why go out and spend 60, 70 million to bring him in and then play him in the wrong position? It just
because he can fill multiple positions. Because he can play in the midfield, he can play left wing, he can play attacking mid, he can play as an 8. Yeah,
but he can play there. But like, say Saka can play left wing, but you're not going to play him there because he's best off the right. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're bringing in players that you feel are going to take it to the next level, play them in the best positions. The only one that we can argue with is Madueke, but because we feel like he might be a squad player or he might do something different, then fair enough, he can play him on the left. But yeah, I think like most fans of, say, Crystal Palace will say, don't play him left wing. If you're going to buy him, don't play him left wing.
But Jamie, it's the same thing that goes for Chelsea. Chelsea are targeting Morgan Rogers. Morgan Rogers is not going to take Palmer's position. He might play off the left. He might play an attacking mid. He might play, like, sometimes you get these versatile players and they cost a lot of money to cover 2 holes at the same time. And instead of buying 2 players, one to cover for Odegaard and one to play on the left wing. And I think he's good enough to play on the left wing, to be honest. That's just Mo. I am a big fan of Eze, to the point that I think that Eze, if he went to City 2 years ago when they were linked with him, he would have taken it to the next level. He would have absolutely been one of the best players in the league. He has all the qualities to make one of the best players in the league. 27 is in his prime. The guy just won the FA Cup with Crystal Palace, being the catalyst of that team during that season. He's physically suited to the Premier League to the T. The shooting, the passing, the IQ as well. Every time I'm watching the guy, he is so smart and he is very good. And his work rate is so underrated as well. I genuinely believe that if Eze goes to Arsenal, and I keep saying this, he's going to have the same impact as Olise did for Bayern Munich. He's going to be a star in this league. If he goes to Liverpool, he's going to be the same, because I believe in the talent.
He won't have the same impact.
It's not about of course, it's not. The output is different. By the way, the word output is different. If we talk about the output, so then Gyökeres is like 5 times
impact output.
The impact. Eze can have the same impact. Eze is so talented. I think people underrate Eze. Eze 2 years ago was linked to Man City. If he goes to Arsenal, why can't he take the same step that Declan Rice did with Arsenal, where he was a West Ham a player? Now look at him at Arsenal. People in Spain talking about Declan Rice being one of the best midfielders in the world at the current moment. Why can't he take that step? And with all due respect, playing for West Ham under David Moyes in a defensive team is not worse than playing for Hoysler at Crystal Palace in an attacking team sometimes with better players. So for me, Eze is so talented. If he goes to Chelsea, I think he would light it up as well.
Yeah, I think it's more that I wouldn't expect Eze to come in and just be like the starting left winger. I think, to be honest, Arteta for years has spoken about wanting Arsenal to be unpredictable, and he's always signing versatile players that would suggest that it means that we can go into games like in very different ways. But I think last season we had so many injuries that we never really had the opportunity to do that. But I do look at it and I think like, yeah, there could be games where, you know, if you're going into a game against, especially like a lower Premier League team that has all week to prepare for it, if you're going into that game and they don't know whether it's going to be Eze, Madueke or Martinelli off the left-hand side, who are three very different players, and they don't know whether it's going to be Miles Lewis-Skelly at left back or Calafiori at left back, I think that opens up a lot of options, even with like Gyökeres and Havertz up top, who are two very different players. I think the biggest thing we can have going into next season is just the ability to approach games differently and not be as predictable. Because I think that's one of the things that's hurt us really over the last 3 years. In like all of the title challenges that we've had, I feel like most weeks you've been able to write down exactly what Arsenal's starting 11 is going to be. And I think that's been a problem. So other than, you know, there's a couple of players, obviously like Gabriel, Saliba, Saka, Raya, you're always going to assume are going to be there. But outside of that, I mean, some people even saying we could see like Madueke actually start off the right and Saka start more centrally, which at times he started as kind of a right attacking mid with like England, and he picks the ball up on the turn and could be really dangerous there. So yeah, if we can keep players fit and we've got that versatility, I do think that we could.
What about Liverpool?
More exciting.
Can we get Dan involved with us a little bit?
That's very quiet.
No, I was just
very quiet.
I was just looking at Eze's comparison to other players in the league and just interested in his stats.
Teach us, enlighten us.
Compare him to Elisa there.
Let me do this. Let me do this before you go. Adil, big up Adil. Thank you, Sabah Omo. Thank you, much love for your show. Thank you so much. Guys, we got 1,000 people here, and we're only on 100 likes. Guys, hit that like button, you guys, if you're here. And this show, guys, deserves 400 likes at least. Hit that like button, people. Subscribe to the channel. Get involved in the comment section as well. I'm trying to read some comments as well, but the conversation is going. So thank you so much for everyone. Go ahead, Dan. Enlighten us about Eze. Tell me how good Eze is.
There's not too much to enlighten you because I think you all said he's a very good player and his numbers are really good actually. And I just think he's definitely a player that's due a move. He has to have a move this summer. If he doesn't go, I feel like he's going to go a little bit stagnant at Palace. But I was just looking at him in comparison to Xavi Simons. I think I'd still take Xavi Simons over him actually, just for what he's doing. Their stats and numbers are very similar. And I was just sort of looking at his heat map and where he's been sort of picking up the ball and where he's been playing. He doesn't really look like a player that I think thrives out on the left as an out and out winger. I don't think that's his game. I think he definitely is a player that needs to be a little bit more central. If he's coming in and he's picking up that pocket, that sort of half space out towards the left wing and between sort of the 10 space, I think that's where he looks his best, to be honest with you. And I think Arteta's the type of manager that can find that sort of place for him in his team. I think Pep's the sort of manager as well that would find that role for him pretty well. But I think if you're going to isolate him as an out-and-out left winger, I don't think you're going to get the best out of him. I really don't. And also, just to touch on Madueke, he looked really good as a left winger in his last few games for Chelsea. He looked really exciting. It was almost like he was unpredictable because he wasn't, out on the right, it was always he was going to cut in on his left foot. It was just when. Whereas on the left, he was cutting in on his right foot, and I don't think people expected that. He would go to the byline, work crosses. I was actually really excited seeing him at left wing, but I'm also not too disheartened that he's left at the same time. But yeah, he'd be an exciting addition for Arsenal, Eze, if he was to go.
Do you think he can take it to the next level?
Yeah, I really do. I think he'd go to the next level. I don't know, like Jamie said, I don't actually think he's the same sort of player as Elise. I think Elise can get on the ball anywhere on the pitch and make something happen, as in a direct involvement in a goal, probably. Eze's numbers for pre-assists are actually unbelievable as well. I was just looking at that. He's involved in so much before the final assist or goal as well. So I think playing with better players, someone like Eze goes to the next level.
The thing is, well, I would say with Eze is, so we were talking about Declan Rice and Elise when they obviously made that kind of step to Arsenal and Bayern Munich. They were a lot younger. So I feel like, obviously when I know you're coming into your prime, but a lot of your development might have been done between like the ages of kind of 20, 21, say, when you're kind of getting consistent minutes up until like 26, 27. Then you're kind of more a rounded player. So I feel like Elise and Rice taking that step into Arsenal and Bayern Munich, they would have went on and like would have been learning a lot, and like I think they would have been able to take more steps in their development at their ages than Eze would be able to take on to Arsenal right now. I think he's a lot more assured in the type of player that he is, and he's happy with where he's at. So I don't think he would take those massive steps to say the same way they did.
You know, the problem is with this signing. I'm sorry, can I add just one thing?
Yeah.
I don't see a team like Liverpool making that signing for Madueke. Even though I think the player is good, why Arsenal made the signing and not Liverpool, even though Liverpool need a backup for Salah, for example? Why I don't see Liverpool making that sign?
Well,
it's an Arsenal sign.
It's, yeah, I mean, that to be fair, is a very, very different strategy. Like Liverpool, generally speaking, look at outside of the Premier League. I can't really think of an attacking player that Liverpool, in recent years, that Liverpool bought from, other than Mane. That Liverpool bought from within the Premier League.
Jota.
Whereas, Jota, yeah, true.
McAllister,
Whereas Arsenal,
Gyökeres,
attacking players. Whereas Arsenal, I think every single attacking signing we've made under Arteta has been a Premier League player, other than Marquinhos, which doesn't really count. So, yeah, there's especially when it comes to the attack, Arteta seems to have a preference, at least, for Premier League proven, which personally, I think you end up paying a premium for it. That's not necessarily worth it. But
and he's homegrown as well, isn't he? So there's already that English.
Well, he's not.
Who? Madueke?
Yeah, he doesn't count because he developed in at PSV.
Oh, really? Even though his
it's like it's not, your passport's irrelevant because like Saliba and Martinelli count as homegrown because they were at Arsenal. So it's, well, there's confusion, right? So basically, you've got to be registered with an FA club, an FA registered club for 3 years before you turn 21, which is why like Saliba and Martinelli count. Whereas Madueke left to PSV at 16 and then obviously came back when he was 21. But like, he was at Spurs for a few years before that, but people aren't really sure if that counts or not at that young an age. So there's a bit of a... All I know is Chelsea didn't register him as a homegrown player last season with the Premier League. So, yeah, I don't know.
They already have about 50 homegrown players in their squad.
Yeah, but so it's not about, because the way the rule is, it's not about needing more homegrown players. It's about the cap on non-homegrown players. So you can only have 17 registered players that aren't homegrown out of your 25-man squad. So I think Arsenal are actually on the limit of 17 right now. Obviously, we need to sell like Zinchenko and Trossard and players like that.
Mr. Iguana saying Eze will be Trossard on Pete's. Yeah, fine. We'll see how it goes. I actually think he's going to be fantastic, to be honest with you. About Chelsea, though, they are targeting Morgan Rogers and they're selling to sell Jackson. How dangerous are Chelsea next season?
What, without Rogers or with Rogers?
With Rogers. The reports are saying that you're real Aston Villa. The reason why, you know why he's linked with Aston Villa, right? Because the one who brought him to the light is Unai Emery at Villarreal, and he likes him. So that's why they want him, but they are afraid that you're going to target Morgan Rogers. Even without Morgan Rogers, how good are Chelsea? For real.
Probably better.
Is anybody even thinking about him? Title contenders?
No, I don't think title contenders.
Chelsea themselves aren't thinking of themselves as title contenders, are they?
Champions of the world.
Came out yesterday, world champions, but their ambitions for next season are, what was it, to secure Champions League again and have a good run in the cups. So
I actually think that's realistic.
And you don't think that it's fair, Rory? You guys don't think that's fair?
I think the ambition should be to compete for the title. With what they've spent and with what they did last season, I don't know why it wouldn't be. Whether they can do that realistically is another question. But like, how much more do they need to build before the ambition is to compete for the title?
can't
if
be
we're-
much more, right? First of all, and second of all, just to touch on that, I think if Chelsea were out there signing players that are competitive to who Liverpool are signing in Wirtz, as in who Arsenal are signing in Gyökeres, as in Man City already having Haaland, and players of that sort of level, Marmoush, I think the discussion would be there that Chelsea feel like they can go and step above those if they were signing players similar to that. But they're not, are they? We can all see it. They might be spending money that's equivalent to those signings, but those players aren't. Even João Pedro looked unbelievable at the Club World Cup. I don't think any of us would have said that he's on the same level as the type of players that we're talking about going to the teams that are probably above Chelsea. But I do think how much more building has to go before this team is ready. I agree with that as well. It can't be much.
What about so is João Pedro better than Ekitike? By the way, Ekitike is not a true number 9. He's a link-up play.
I think he's a better finisher. I think we saw at the Club World Cup he might be a better finisher than.
For what Chelsea need right now, Chelsea created, I think, more chances than any team in the Premier League last season. That was never their issue. Putting it in the back of the net was. I think you're far more likely to do that with João Pedro than Ekitike right now.
And
I
Cole
think it's
Palmer
kind
with
of crazy.
Wirtz.
I like
Sorry?
Chelsea. I know this is a bit weird. I like Chelsea's team more than I like Man City's in terms of.
Finally, someone said
In
it.
terms
now.
of what? Winning the league?
No, not when I say in terms of winning. I mean it more like I don't know. I think right. I said it before. I think centre back and goalkeeper. I think you need two more elite players in those positions. But I think if you go right back, Malagusto and Reece James, I'm very big fan of the two of them. Gyokeres has been really improved. Casado's one of the best DMs in the world. Then you have Enzo, who's been really improved. Cole Palmer, Lavia as well. I think Pedro Neto was unbelievable in the Club World Cup too. And then if João Pedro and Delap kind of, you don't have like that star forward, but if you have like the two of them that kind of click in different parts of the season, then it could work. I just think I don't know. I think when I look at Man City's team, they just seem like they're not like cohesive. It doesn't look like it fits. Now I think Rodri coming back might change things, and we'll see kind of at the start of the season. But like he's picked up another injury in the Club World Cup, so he might miss the start of the season depending on how he comes back from that, or they might not want to risk him at the start. But it's not a case of like I think City are still going to be there. I think Guardiola is the big difference when I look at City. Do you know what I mean? He just knows how to win leagues. It's just when I don't know. I feel like they just haven't. They haven't adjusted or haven't brought in the right players to like make me think that they can go and they can win a league again. Like you think of like I think Bernardo Silva's a year on. His running numbers last season were really good in terms of getting around the pitch, but like he's so slow in terms of like just actually when he comes up against a team that are so quick and pacey and like can counterattack and move really well, they struggle. Rodri's never been someone that can like do that type of work. He's more of a controller. I think Reinders coming in might change that too, but I think like Doku and Savinho, they are miles away from it right now in terms of being elite attackers in the Premier League. And then you need someone that's going to supply Haaland. And De Bruyne's gone now. They still have Matheus Nunes at right back. Guardiola was probably one of their best players last season. He at left back, and now he's being moved to centre back. So Aït-Nouri, you're kind of saying defensively, he's definitely suspect sometimes. I think going forward, he's really good. And then Ederson's the question marks over him. Do you know what I mean? So I just think...
He might be leaving actually after today.
Yeah, just today. They might sell it for like 10 million.
But Liverpool might be coming in.
I don't know. I think City, it's natural for any team. Like they've just had such a high, and they haven't brought in the right players to get back to like being at that consistent level.
Can I tell you guys my take now? As of now, I don't think City will win the league.
Yeah, I don't think they will either.
I think they will. No. I think they will compete. I don't think they will win the league.
Do you think they'll be better than last season?
Okay, they have to be better than last season. They were literally 8th for like some part of the season. So they cannot get worse than this. They literally climbed the table at the end because you remember Chelsea, Nottingham Forest, Villa, they all like Newcastle, they all battled each other, and City were like climbing the table like at the end. They won a lot of games, but I don't think they are at the same level as Arsenal and Liverpool, to be honest. Like there is a lot of unproven players at City, and also the defense. Even we saw the Club World Cup, like Al Hilal literally just cut through them, like with ease. There's a couple of passes and they're boom, they are there. And I'm looking at this. And even last season without Rodri, you tell me without Rodri, Real Madrid played them with so much ease. But look how Arsenal played Real Madrid. Look at Arsenal with Moreno. Who was the starting forward for Euro when we beat them 5-1?
For us, it was Moreno.
And remember, at that time, City was still battling for top 5. Arsenal already lost the league. So Arsenal played with ease. And they beat them 5-1. I actually do. As Matthias Nunes at right back. Okay, that's not great. Diaz has lost a couple of yards in pace.
John Stones.
Right? John Stones is always injured. He's a good player. He's always injured. And every time he stepped in, he made mistakes. And that defense, by the way, one of the reasons why Arsenal and Liverpool are strong is Van Dijk, Saliba, and Gabriel. People forget that defense is your first step in winning football games. You cannot go to every game losing 1-0 and then you're trying to catch up to the game. Look at how Chelsea lately look much better. They keep 7 clean sheets in the last 8. Every time I'm watching Chelsea now, I'm like, yeah, you're keeping the clean sheet. You got a big chance of winning and nicking this. 1 goal will nick it. But Man City always concede chances, always concede shots. Ederson is making mistakes. That's why I don't think that City, Pep Guardiola, undeniably, best coach out there. But he can do so much if the players just making mistakes after mistakes. That midfield is not good enough. And then I know Rangers is good going forward. And people that didn't watch Rangers, I'm not sure if any of you watch Rangers. He's a very attacking player in the midfield. Very attacking player. He's someone that likes to drop. He's like similar to Eze in terms of like, I'm on attack. He's a more attacking player than balanced midfielder like Kovacic.
Yeah.
So that's why I think Chelsea can battle City for the 3rd position. Why not?
So say, just to put that narrative then in, so say we're going into the season, right? And most people would say City should be there competing with Arsenal and Liverpool. So at the same time, should Chelsea not be doing it? Do you know what I mean? I think Chelsea's team is probably more rounded. Sorry. Chelsea's team is probably more rounded right now. And I think as well, I think they've come through a tough patch with Maresca, and there's a lot to be said about that. Like they were able to get to hit their objective. Then they go on and they're going to have the momentum of obviously winning the Club World Cup. So like the atmosphere in the club would be high. Do you know what I mean? And that might obviously help them at the start of the season. So yeah, I think like they bought well. I think Delap and João Pedro will do well will do well there. But I think if they go out and get a goalkeeper and a centre back, then there shouldn't be any reason why the expectation for them as a club is that they should be going and trying to compete for the league at least. They shouldn't just be top 4 and accepting that.
I want bring the others, but also Chelsea had something that Man City don't have. About 8 of their players have been playing together for 3 years. It doesn't matter who the coach is. They've been training together daily. They've been traveling together. They're playing the Conference League together. Yes, sometimes they didn't play the whole team, but also in the latter stages, they played the whole team. They played together. The midfield has been playing together now for 2 years at least with Cole Palmer. Now this will be their 3rd year. Neto this is his 2nd year. And João Pedro looks like he fits them like a glove. Like we saw the energy from João Pedro. It's like, oh, like he has been playing with them forever. And I'm like, this is more team that is more gelled together than Man City, whose Reinders is there. Doku. I think that Doku's on a different wavelength. I like Doku. It's just different wavelength than the rest of the team. It looks like he's playing on a different island than the rest of the team. Savinho sometimes. And I think actually, to be honest, like, I think Chelsea have a chance of trying to compete. Are they going to win it? Probably not. But they have a chance to compete. Same as Man City, to be honest.
I think the difference for me going into next season between City and Chelsea is that obviously both of them were at the Club World Cup and we don't know what effect that's going to have at the start of the season. But I think with Chelsea, it was like they used the Club World Cup to figure a lot of things out and it clicked and it worked. And so they don't need a preseason to figure things out, because they kind of already know how to approach next season, start next season. Whereas with City, like nothing really, there was a lot of switching and swapping and changing anyway throughout the Club World Cup. There were elements that looked good. Then you saw against Al Hilal where it kind of fell apart. And it's like, again, they're not going to have much of a preseason. A lot of their players that didn't get injured last season are probably pretty knackered. And so I feel like start of the season, they could be vulnerable to teams picking them off before they've fully figured out what it kind of is that they're actually doing. I
just feel like you could just still steamroll them, like with teams that are high energy. I get around the pitch, get at them. Do you know what I mean? I feel like teams like that. That's what they showed against last year, and I still think teams will do that. They'll put players.
No fear factor, Jamie. No
Yeah,
fear
exactly.
factor.
But like they have lost that no fear factor, especially when they went on that run in November. Teams are like, you know what, we could actually go at these, and they struggle. And Ryan, it'd be interesting to see what way he obviously does his midfield, because I think with Rodri coming back, Reinders, and it could be Cherky, it could be Bernardo Silva. Does he play Bernardo Silva off the right? But like, just even with Reinders and Rodri, right? So if you have those two and say Reinders can get around the pitch, but like if you put in Rodri with Bernardo Silva, if they don't have complete control of a game, and if teams start to get after them, they'll lose it again. And because they don't have, like, say, Kyle Walker's pace to get them out if they get caught out on the counter attack, or defensively, they're not, the defenders aren't as good. Yeah, I don't think they've addressed the issues that they should.
Can I tell you something, Rory, before you come in? I actually think what plays in City's hands that they have no pressure.
The underdog.
I don't know though. I think there is pressure, like internally. I think there is. I don't think City fans. I think there are so many City fans that are just so used to winning that I think there was a bit of a grace period last season where it was like, okay, like things have gone wrong, injuries, lots of, like you said, money in the bank. I think if they start next season slowly again, which I just looked at their start to the season, if they do start slowly, which I feel like they will, Wolves away opening day, not the easiest, but then Spurs at home, where I think the way Spurs started that first season under Ange Postecoglou, where it was like insane high energy, now with Thomas Frank, that could be tough. Then Brighton away, which is tough, especially in those sorts of high energy games. Then United at home, which their record against United recently is actually really bad. And then they've got Arsenal. So that's their opening 5 games. And I feel like if they haven't found that rhythm, I don't know. I think that their start to the season could be tough.
We could be completely wrong, and fucking Guardiola approves. So that's the way he could do things. But yeah, I think just if you're looking at players, I think you can say that they haven't done enough to kind of fix some of the issues that they had last season.
Let me do this and then I'll bring Dan in. Dan, haven't seen you since we won the Club World Cup. For once, be happy. Even you can be negative. Do not pretend rivals and downplay it like sort of. No. Who's downplaying it? I don't know, DJ. I don't know why. He hasn't downplayed it. He's talking about Chelsea.
I think there's been a bit of a thing with Chelsea fans where after they won, there was a lot of Chelsea fans like, we're going to be unbearable. Oh my God, everyone's going to be so mad because we're going to be celebrating so hard. And it's like everyone else has kind of moved on a little bit. But they're still
even
there.
Chelsea fans moved on. Even Matisse and the guys moved on.
Ones. Yeah,
you know why they moved on? Because they're really believing that the team is going into the right direction, and they want to talk about, okay, what's next? We won the Conference League. We won the Club World Cup. We need next. To be honest with you, the problem with this, and I'm speaking here because I watched some of the Matisses and the guys at the flip of the coin. They were talking about, this is not the Champions League of the Premier League. You need to target the next move now. Build on it instead of just celebrating forever. Like, build on this. Now sign the right players, get the right players. And they think that they signed Delapis. It looks really good, by the way. João Pedro looks really good. And Andre Santos even doesn't look bad. And they're like, okay, let's go to the next level now. Can we compete? Can we at least battle for third or second? That is what people need to focus on. Because, yes, by the way, you can celebrate the Premier League forever and the Champions League. If Arsenal win the Premier League next season, the Champions League, they can celebrate for a year. Because that is the pinnacle of football, winning your league with the Champions League. Winning the Club World Cup is good, but it's not the ultimate goal. People can't celebrate forever. Like, imagine if Chelsea starts bad next season. The Club World Cup will be forgotten within 1 month. Within 1 month, it'll be forgotten. But if Liverpool starts bad, people will bring up that they won the league. Simple. It's a simple thing. You win the league or the Champions League, you got a ground to stand on. Winning the Conference League or even the Cups, you can't stand on this. You know, and that is my point. James here is saying Diaz is getting hung out to dry with the system, but that is Pep Guardiola, and he will never change that system. Nobody believes that Pep Guardiola will sit back. He will never do this. He will always have his defenders defending spaces. That
defense feels like it's going to be, if anything, more hung out to dry even than previously. When you're looking at, you're looking at Ait Nouri. If you got Rodri in there alongside, like you said, Reinders, who's going to gallivant forwards.
Like, right back is such an issue for them at the moment as well. That right-hand side is going to be...
Yeah, who are their right backs as it stands? Rico Lewis
Mateus
and
and Mateus
Nunez. Yeah,
And I
think-
feel like he thinks that Nunez is like the solution. Do you know? Like I feel like that's the way. Do you know Guardiola's a little bit different like that, where
Do you think he
feels
thinks
like
he's
he could plug
Cancelo?
something.
Like,
Yeah, maybe Cancelo, but
I
he's
think
nowhere
that.
near that level. Do you know what I
No,
mean?
he's not. But I think
the
he
different-
thinks they're similar.
Yeah, but the difference is like we go back to that when Cancelo was there. He was usually playing right back, so he was kind of coming in a little bit, and then they had Kyle Walker, John Stones, and Diaz, who were really, really good. Say 1v1 defending. Kyle Walker obviously was pace, but I think the Kyle Walker situation, they haven't dealt with that well, because even when he was there at the club and he was kind of winding down, he was struggling. I remember Traore killed him in a 1v1. I know Traore is unbelievably quick, but just stuff that he would have been able to deal with before, like that's been coming. And Guardiola feels like the solution has been Mateus Nunez, and he hasn't. He just is continuing to stick with that. Like I know there was talk of Livramento going to City. I think he would be perfect for them, like in terms of
literally
the
perfect.
money. Yeah, like a really big fan of his. So I'm surprised that they haven't done that, and they went out and bought the way it doesn't make sense. They went out and bought Nuri to replace Guardiola, who was unbelievable last season, attacking and defending, and they didn't sign a right back when they could have signed a right back and a centre back, and then kept
Because they don't have a
Guardiola,
left centre back. Because you don't
Yeah,
have a
but-
left centre
Yeah,
back.
but go out and buy a left centre back and then keep one of the best left backs in world football there.
But surely,
Hold
like
on.
between
You don't have a left centre back next to Diaz. Gavardi was
They
the best
have,
defender as a centre
Ake.
back.
They have the guy that was at Dortmund on loan as well, the young
Akanji.
Brazilian.
Akanji.
No, young Brazilian. He was on loan at Dortmund last season. He's a City player as well, and I don't know whether he'll go in as a right back.
But also, why did they go in January if they were struggling for left centre backs? Why did they go and buy Kusanov and Viktor?
Their January business is going to look so bad. Like
If they
within
needed
6 months, I think.
if they needed a left centre back, I don't know. I feel like that's so. How many right centre backs?
Jan Kuto, that's it. Thank you,
They have
Chad.
Kozanov,
is he sold, is he?
Akanji, John Stones, and Diaz as right centre back. Left centre back, left footed, they have Gavardo. And Ake. Currently.
Okay, yeah.
Currently Ake, who is, by the way, they're looking to sell. By the way.
Yeah,
They're
I don't
looking to sell
know.
Ake.
That January business actually, other than Marmoush, does genuinely look weird when you look back at it.
Because Nico
They've
barely
got guys
played,
they already want to get rid of.
and then Kusanov like literally barely played any games
Disappeared.
as well. And the other guy, Vitor Rice, I don't remember seeing.
Yeah,
And
like
when Pep spoke about all of them at the time, he said they're the club signings, like as if to say they're not
do you
here.
think the club is preparing for after Pep?
Yeah, I think they are. I think the new sporting director has got a vision after Pep. I just think there's no way Pep's going to be told what to do. And I actually don't understand how a sporting director could sit in a room with Pep Guardiola and tell him how to do his job, or like
If
what
that's-
sort of players he should sign. It's true, isn't it? He could turn around and
Yeah,
say,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
look
yeah.
what I've won.
If that is the case, though, they could have a really bad season because
Yeah.
Pep Guardiola is not going to sit there and go, "Oh yeah, I'll start building and playing in the way that you're going to play once
The next
I'm gone."
coach. you
He'll be
mean,
like,
the
"Okay,"
next coach.
he'll be like, "I'm still going to play the way that I want to, and if the players don't work for it, then we're just going to be terrible." Like he'll,
Yeah, that's
he
he'd
won't
rather do
change.
that.
We're
Yeah,
signing
he
players
needs
for
work.
we're signing players for the
Um,
future. We're going to be shit now, and that's just the way things are. Because
Yeah,
that's
but
how we run
is
the
that
club.
not what happened in January, though? I think that's what's happened. I think he's given him a little bit of time, 2 or 3 games, and he's gone, not a chance.
But
That's
when
not my
did
type of player.
No, but you
Guardiola
remember
sign that
even
contract
Marmoush, guys?
extension?
You remember even Marmoush in the beginning? He's like, Marmoush is making his runs that he made at Frankfurt and nobody's passing him the ball and Foden is looking at him and the rest are looking at him like, we're not passing you the ball. That's not how
Was
we
he
play
not-
football.
Was he not interchanging Marmoush and Haaland at the Club World Cup as well? Like they didn't
Yeah.
really play much
Yeah.
together, did they? So that's another thing, is that I think Marmoush obviously showed at Frankfurt he linked up so well with Ekitike and a forward guy in front of him. And then Pep's like, no, it's one or the other.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's. I don't know. I don't know because even like Marmoush kind of benefited obviously when he joined that Haaland was injured, wasn't he? So it
Mm.
was, or he got injured quite quickly. But no, I think it will be. Yeah, I think probably I would predict City right now to be 4th out of that top 4. I still think they'll get there because it's Pep and he'll figure out a way.
Fourth.
But
wild.
Yeah, I think if you're
tough
looking at the
season,
other
they'll have some
three,
down moments. Like it won't be plain sailing.
they also still don't have a huge amount of squad depth going
Yeah.
into. Yeah, it's another
Champions League,
season.
Cup,
They haven't had a
Cup.
proper summer off, carrying a lot of injury-prone players at this point.
Yeah,
City are finished. That's what we're saying.
that's
Yeah.
what we said. That's the Rational League. I've said that City are finished.
Clip it up there, but no.
Ekitike's dead spit of Jill Scott. Here, I don't know who's that. It looks even more like Jill Scott Ern's dad. First Jamaican to play for Celtic. My man, I'm really lost here.
Jill Scott is in like the woman footballer.
No.
I don't know who
no
that
idea
is,
who
my
that
friend.
is.
But thank you so much. Really appreciate you. But thank you. Who wins FIFA between you four?
Oh, I'm
Also
cooking.
try rematch. To be honest with you, my wife banned me from FIFA in 2021. I used to play Ultimate Team, and I just got banned from playing PlayStation. And she gave away the PlayStation at that time in 2021 after COVID. I broke I really punched the wall and just broke the wall. It's just a wood wall in America.
It's just a money grab now, anyway.
And
I've not played it since it went to FC. I played it up until it was FIFA, and then kind of just went away from it.
I used to play Ultimate Team and broke in one season I broke like 3 joysticks. And at one time I was playing the league. What is it called? The weekend league.
Weekend league.
And I was like 1 game away from reaching the next level, and I lost it. And I punched the wall, and I threw a thing. And she came in. She went up the stairs, and she said, "All right, that's it. This is it. That's the end of the story with the PlayStation." And she's like, "I'm done here." I'm like, "No." I'm like, "I'm done here. We're done." It really affected my mental health. By the way, I'm being serious. It affected my mental health. I didn't sleep.
No, I used to get, I wasn't that bad. I used to get very angry at the game. But yeah, I don't think I ever. I used to throw the controller at the wall a lot.
Yeah, I had anxiety, and because I used to play the 40 games with them, because I used to watch the football, and I need to play the games. I didn't go out with her, and I was just focused on winning that. It just took over my life for some part, and I'm glad it's gone now. To be honest with you, I know that Rory has to go.
Was probably like the highlight, I think.
I know. It's at work. I used to do SBCs at work. I used to be like a Gyökeres at that time. It's SBC at work, taking over my life. But I know Rory has to go. I don't know if Jamie has to go as well. It is okay. Appreciate you, Rory, for joining. Go support Rory, guys. We'll see you, Rory. Appreciate you so much. By the way, no pressure, guys. If someone has to go, it is okay.
I'm jumping. See you later, guys. See you
See you,
later.
Jamie.
Chat. Take it easy.
Yeah. All right. It's me and Dan talking about Chelsea, people. We talk about Chelsea. Hit that like button. Come on, guys. We still have over 1,000 people here, guys. Hit that like button. Now we're getting Dan, me and him. He's not going to be quiet.
We can talk about any. We don't just have to talk about Chelsea.
Tell me about the league next season. Hit that like. Tell me about the league. I think you're one of the most rational people I talk to. That's why I chose you for. Hit that like button. Support, guys. Support the channel, guys. Hit that like button. Subscribe as well. We're cooking this month, so hit that like button. On Steam Bomba. Let's look at the news. On Steam Bomba.
Yeah.
Okay, Brian Buemo.
Brian
Buemo. Who cares?
Maximum of £71 million.
It's a lot of money for Brian Buemo.
But his output is unreal. So I don't know if it's that.
You know, I love the player. You know, it's so entertaining. I wanted to ask you something between me and you. I have this back and forth with Osam about who won in the Battle of Newcastle and Liverpool. I'm gonna give you context. Okay. I'm gonna ask you some questions. People in the chat, I want you guys to get involved. Hit that like. Let's get to 500 likes live. And people in the chat, don't get riled up. I'm gonna ask you some questions. Then just gonna answer them.
Yeah.
What was Newcastle's primary target going into this transfer window?
I would have said it was a right winger.
No. In their, I think. Tell me if yes or no. It's keeping Isak.
Oh, okay. Yeah, probably. Yeah, unless they deemed how much they could get for him as a key part of rebuilding the squad.
But I think that is my take. Is that to keep Isak the primary target? What was Liverpool's primary target this season, this summer window?
To renew contracts?
No, to get Isak.
Yeah,
that was the primary target.
Probably Isak, yeah.
So Liverpool got their second target, which is Ekitike.
Do you not think Wirtz was the way they went after Wirtz?
100%. I'm talking about the striker. I'm talking about of course. By the way, actually, I don't think that Wirtz was their primary target. Even Sam said it. You know that Wirtz came out of the blue. Liverpool in the beginning believed that Wirtz is going to City, and then they entered that, and then they won it. Fair enough to them. I like it. Like Wirtz to Liverpool makes a lot of sense, right? My thing about Liverpool is that now they're off Newcastle's back for Isak. And now maybe Isak will be sold next summer, maybe not. We don't know. Probably he might be. And Liverpool got Ekitike, who's their second option. So in my head, Newcastle won as of now. That is my take on this. I don't know. What is your take?
No, probably not. I don't think Newcastle have got a better team at the end of it.
Of course they haven't. Of course they haven't.
And also they're not in a position where they can spend that type of money that Liverpool can as well. Like Liverpool have got a team probably equal to Newcastle's, and then they've improved it by 200-300 million by the end of the transfer window. So I think Liverpool are in a much better position than.
I don't disagree with you. Liverpool are in a much. There's no
and even with priority of who they or what they thought they might do in this window.
You think Ekitike? Okay.
The only way, I think Newcastle probably lose. Well, look, I'm not sold on Ekitike, and I think Liverpool are paying over the odds, whatever they pay for him, because I think Frankfurt are phenomenally good at generating huge prices for their strikers. If they sell him, it's like over 350 million in the last 7 years on strikers alone. It's crazy what they've done. But I think ultimately Newcastle have to try and keep their squad together, but also they've got to sell someone to try and level their squad up as well. And I think Livramento might be the type of player to do that. If they can generate 70-80 million from Man City, that gives them a lot of money to work with, potentially, to go and sign someone else that takes them to the next level. I thought they'd get Brian Mbeumo. I'm quite shocked he's gone United. I have to say that.
Why?
Because I think Newcastle right now is the better club to join.
100%, but they got Elanga. They really wanted Elanga.
I think Eddie Howe really wanted Elanga. I don't know how much the fan base really wanted Elanga. I think Eddie Howe's system suits Elanga, but I think output-wise, Brian Mbeumo would have been a way better option than Elanga. I think Elanga suits Eddie Howe. I think he's like probably a better version of Murphy. But Murphy's numbers last year were so good as well for Newcastle. So it's tough. I genuinely thought that if Newcastle strengthened well this summer, they could put themselves maybe in the conversation above because of the type of players they've got. If they'd have got Brian Mbeumo, who generates an extra 15, 20 goals on top of what they've already got, I think that would have been really exciting. Their midfield is arguably one of the best in the Premier League. Defensively, I do think they need reinforcements and they probably need a better goalkeeper, but I really don't think they're that far off it, though.
No, I agree with you. I think Newcastle are a very good team. I just don't think I put them over Chelsea now because of the squad depth that they currently have.
I probably would.
How?
Because I don't think
squad depth.
Okay.
But you have a lot of squad. Your midfield is better than them.
Our midfield is probably equal to theirs. I wouldn't do too much. I don't think they have a Casado, but I think other than that, I think their midfield.
And they don't have a Palmer at all. Here's the thing.
No, that's probably what they need to add, isn't it? That's probably the one. That's
exactly,
probably what
which
Brian
is a massive
Mbeumo generated for them. That's probably what he generated for them. But I think Newcastle have got a really good side. I do. I think if you look at their squad against Chelsea, it's actually pretty close. Cole Palmer probably is the one player that Newcastle don't have. That a guy that's capable of scoring that many goals, creating that much away from their main striker. But then I don't think Chelsea have
depth is a bigger deal because both play Champions League.
Definitely.
Much better depth. So as a squad, they're not comparable. And it's not only starting 11. Like, number one, Newcastle don't have a Cole Palmer. And I believe that Cole Palmer is probably 50% of that midfield strength because of his creativity, goal scoring. Right? The wingers, though, Neto and Anthony Gordon, kind of a little bit similar. Not bad. Kind of a little bit similar. I like Anthony Gordon.
Anthony Gordon's and Harvey Barnes' numbers were a lot better than Neto last season.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think Harvey Barnes had better numbers than Gordon, and I think Murphy had better numbers than both of them.
Than everyone. Murphy had like 20 GA.
Yeah.
In the league only, something like
Which
this.
I think that shows that their players in wide areas were ahead of Chelsea's last season. Madueke was Chelsea's best wide area player with 7 goals. But obviously he's gone now. But like
Cucurella versus Lewis Hall and Livramento, your right back is better.
Cucurella is definitely better. But don't get me wrong, Lewis Hall and Livramento, they're decent compared to what the rest of the Prem are operating. Like we just spoke about City's fullbacks. Newcastle's are better in Lewis Hall and Livramento. That right now they're better than what City have to offer.
But Chelsea are better, to be honest.
Chelsea are better, yeah. Chelsea are better. But I think
Colwell is better than Dan Burn.
Yeah, I think Levi Colwell's really impressed me. Like the last 2 months of the season and the Club World Cup, really impressed. I actually think Sven Botman's a really good player, but he can't stay fit.
I love Sven Botman, but he has been back-to-back injuries. Definitely affected him. Definitely affected him. Sven Botman. Do you think Newcastle will be a main player then next season?
I think Newcastle challenge. The only issue with Newcastle is how deep they go into the Champions League might affect how their Champions League push in the league does. But I think right now they've definitely got a squad good enough to get Champions League football again. I don't know how far that squad can go in the Champions League as well as contesting before, because wasn't that the issue before, that they got Champions League football with a good squad and then they didn't have enough depth to go and compete in the league again and they dropped off a little bit?
I think that's a myth because they got knocked out in the first round. So they had the whole second half of the season without Champions League football. But they still didn't make Champions League.
Struggled.
Didn't they actually, I don't think they even went to Europa League at that year. They actually just fell off.
I don't think they did. Yeah,
they actually fell off. I remember that scandal with the PSG handball that they get knocked out, to be honest.
But where they do lack is defensive cover, really. A player
for all the positions.
Yeah, a player in a similar ilk of Cole Palmer that can put up that many numbers and be that creative. And then I think goalkeeper. I don't think they've got a good enough goalkeeper. But I think
Sanchez has improved.
You think they've got a good team?
Good starting 11, yes, 100%. What about the title race? Is he Arsenal winning? To be honest, is he Arsenal winning the league?
I think the title is between Arsenal and Liverpool.
Who's closer for him?
Liverpool
are closer.
Yeah,
Arsenal,
I think so.
Even if Arsenal sign like Gyokeres and
I really like
Eze.
it. I probably prefer Arsenal's striker addition in Gyökeres to anything Liverpool have signed. But I think Liverpool
even Wirtz.
Yeah, I do. I think Gyökeres.
Can you elaborate on this place?
Okay, I will because I think Wirtz doesn't change. I don't know. Like he might, but I don't think he does a drastic improvement to Liverpool's team more than what I think the drastic improvement from Gyökeres at Arsenal will be. Like Gyökeres takes Arsenal to another level if he hits the ground running and carries on with the momentum of what he's had. I don't think Wirtz takes Liverpool much higher than what they already were. I think he'd be a really good player, but I don't know if he takes them. How much higher can he take them? Because realistically, Liverpool were already unbelievable because of Salah. I don't know how Wirtz works in the Prem. I don't know what he looks like in the Premier League.
Same as Gyökeres. I can throw that at you. I say same as Gyökeres.
No, I don't think he'll have the same type of impact. I just don't think he will. I think if Gyökeres hits the ground running with the momentum that he's had for the last couple of seasons, he probably goes and wins them the Premier League because he scores that many goals. And Arsenal have lacked that.
But we've seen Darwin Núñez do it in the Portuguese league.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the big if, isn't it? Is what level is that Portuguese league? What level is that? But what does Wirtz do to Liverpool's team then? What does Wirtz do?
Wirtz really was player of the season in the Bundesliga, which is a tougher league than the Portuguese league.
Okay, probably, but we've seen players come from the Bundesliga and really not deliver as well. I think only Manchester City really have had players come from the Bundesliga and actually thrive. Other than that, a lot of people have been, a little bit iffy when they've come from the Bundesliga.
Like Gravenberch just came from the Bundesliga and was great.
Who?
Gravenberch. It took him a year, yes, but in the second year, he was one of the best midfielders in the league.
Gravenberch came from the Bundesliga.
Yeah, he came from Bayern Munich.
Oh, yeah, of course he did. Yeah, true. But he barely played, did he?
Yes. He's an Ajax Academy player.
Okay, but we're talking about players that have come from the Bundesliga that have been like players of the season, or been like, we're talking about Timo Werner having an unbelievable number of goals, didn't cope in the Premier League, and Nkunku, Kai Havertz has been hit and miss in the Premier League. We're talking about top players coming from the Bundesliga to the Premier League, and apart from Manchester City's recruitment, none of them really jump out to me as being absolutely unbelievable. And I think that's probably fair to suggest. Like Sancho's another one. Chat, help me out. There's loads, right? And I'm not saying Wirtz is going to flop, but what I'm saying is, I think there's a chance that if we see the Gyökeres that's playing at Sporting and has been playing in the Champions League, he does more for Arsenal than what Wirtz does for Liverpool.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, KDB and Son are probably good shouts, to be fair, like players that have done well. I've looked at Florian Wirtz. I think he's a great player. And I think I meant chat saying they're not helping out. I just meant players that hadn't done well for the Bundesliga. Cater's another one. Like, there's a lot of players, but I don't know what Wirtz adds. Like, what does Wirtz add to Liverpool?
Creativity.
What, they didn't have it already?
He didn't.
But I think they did. Like Mo Salah, obviously Mo Salah, Szoboszlai, the midfield. What's his? I can't think of his name. McAllister. Like, they had creativity in that team, and I think
they didn't. They didn't have as much creativity.
I'm not saying Wirtz will flop. I'm not saying that, but I just don't think I don't know what the jump can be when Liverpool were that good already. I just don't.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm looking at the stats. Let me tell you. Okay?
Go on, tell me. I want to be told.
Let me tell you. I like it. Let me tell you. Players, big chances created, or chances created overall. Okay, I'm gonna look at big chances created and chances created. From just big chances created, the only player in the top 10 from Liverpool is Mohamed Salah. Tops the chart, of course. Second is Palmer, right? The next Liverpool player on that list is number. Wow. I got to go to the third page now. Is Dominic Szoboszlai, number 22 in the league. I'm giving you the numbers, right? For chances created, which is anybody can create a chance. Mohamed Salah in the first page. And then you got to go to the second, number 19 is Luis Diaz.
Okay,
that is how much creativity they lack. It's only Mohamed Salah. There is players like Andreas Pereira, Eze, Alex Iwobi, Declan Rice, like Pedro Porro that created, or Martin Odegaard, Dejan Kulusevski, Enzo Fernandez, Damsgaard. You know what I mean? Yuri Tillemans. All of these players have created more chances than the rest of the Liverpool squad. This is one of the reasons why, and that is for me to say that Liverpool fans, when I sit down and I tell you that Mohamed Salah had a season of a lifetime, that we might not see a season like this probably for the next 5-10 years. That comes once in a lifetime or once in 10 years that someone has a season like this, right? People don't believe me. That is what Wirtz adds. He adds, instead of having Mohamed Salah only in the first 2 pages, Wirtz adds creativity that Liverpool didn't have apart from Salah. It was Salah or no one creates anything. No one. There's Dwight McNeil that created the same as Dominic Szoboszlai. I'm being honest. Look at this Liverpool team. They were a team that is, without Mohamed Salah, they wouldn't have, probably because Arsenal City were that bad, they might have won the league, but I don't believe that they would have won the league. Numbers, assists, goals, chances created, big chances created. Mohamed Salah is here, and the rest of them, including, by the way, the world-class McAllister. Bro, the world-class McAllister is not even on that list. So Wirtz adds a lot.
Wait, he's not world-class even, McAllister.
They say he's world-class.
Right, I don't know who says that, but okay, so you're saying that the addition of Wirtz makes Liverpool no longer a one-man team, and that's why 100%, it's so important.
100%.
I hear that, by the way, and I think you broke down that argument really well. I do hear that.
I'd add in Ekitike as well, which is, Ekitike is unproven, but Ekitike is very good, right?
He's
a very good forward. People think I'm against Liverpool because I say that Newcastle won, But signing Ekitike, your second option, is great, actually.
Yeah. Do you know why Ekitike is a great signing for someone like Liverpool? Because as much as I do think it's expensive, they're not going to be overly reliant on Ekitike to put up numbers because they've got players like, you know, Diaz, Gakpo, Wirtz, Salah. Obviously, they've got those players. And even Nunes, if he decides to turn up finally, you know, they've got those players there. And it allows him to sort of go under the radar a little bit and they're not as reliant on him. Whereas if Arsenal signed Gyokeres and it doesn't work out, they've put all their eggs in one basket and it won't work. And that's why...
It's fucked.
Yeah, a little bit. But if it does work, I think he takes them to another level because Arsenal, I don't think... They've kind of been clinical with the players they've used there, but they haven't been able to perform in every game. And I think if Gyökeres can come in and perform over the duration of a season and be that consistent man up front and the focal point for a system that's, you know, lacked a bit of tooth at times, it would be unbelievable.
Let me see this question. Big up Mr. Iguana for getting involved in the conversation as well. I appreciate you so much. Guys, we still have about 900 people here, close to 1,000. Let's get to 500 likes, guys. Come on, hit that like button. Listen, we're giving you the content. It's free. Just support the channel, guys. Get us to 500 likes. Dan and Mo, is Palmer better than Wirtz?
Yes. That's not even worth the debate at this moment in time, I don't think.
Really? You don't think it's a conversation?
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. Might be at the end of next season, you know, if he absolutely rocks the Premier League and comes in and is like on another level for that. But I just don't think he's on. I don't think he's on Palmer's level. I just don't think he is.
Even with Palmer having a bad season last season.
Yeah, and still look how comparable that is to Wirtz, like one of his better seasons. So I just think Cole Palmer's on a level above, and I think what Cole Palmer's done in the last two finals, I know one was Conference League, but I think that's put him on. I think that's put him on another level, and I think it's driven his confidence back up to the level it needs to be at, where he believes he's one of the best players in the world.
So you believe your midfield is better than Liverpool currently?
Yeah, I do actually. I think Liverpool's midfield is good, but I think Chelsea's is really, really good. The way the players have been developing, I think Enzo Fernandez has looked very good. I think Moses Caicedo is probably the only player who I think's looked 100 million the whole time he's been at Chelsea in terms of his price tag and what he cost. And Cole Palmer is obviously Cole Palmer. You don't need to have that discussion about how good he is. If you do, then you've got maybe agendas or you're delusional. And then I think Chelsea's depth might be better than Liverpool in terms of midfield as well.
But there is an update from Xavi Simons that Chelsea and Arsenal among clubs attentive. Okay, guys, attentive. He's prepared. They want 90 million for him. For this.
Yeah, because they just paid 70 now in January. They bought him off PSG, didn't they?
Guys, they want 90 million euros for Xavi Simons. Will Arsenal go and fork 90 million euros for Xavi Simons? Will Chelsea do this? What are we joking here? Attentive. Attentive, yeah.
I don't think he'll go back to Barcelona only because of how much he might cost right now.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to go to Arsenal or Chelsea, but I don't think so. He's a good player. The problem is he's good, but he's not like...
Has he done enough since they bought him for 70 million in January, right? He got injured. So has he done enough in that time to generate an extra 20 million and put himself in the discussion of being a 90 million pound player?
They're selling potential. They're selling potential. They're basically selling the potential. They're not selling what he did. They're selling the potential. They're not looking...
I'd take... If Chelsea wanted to pay the money, I would have him in a heartbeat though.
Would you take Morgan Rogers or him?
What? Oh, no, that's tough. That's a tough decision. But
okay, can I throw it at curveball?
Go on, yeah.
Forget both. Would you rather go and try for a left winger, an out-and-out left winger?
Yeah, I probably would. Because I feel like that area of the pitch is incredibly congested now for Chelsea. I think unless Nkunku was to leave, I don't really see.
Also, João Pedro can play behind the lap. People forget that.
Exactly. And I think with how good João Pedro's been, that almost becomes the discussion for Maresca is how does he then get, you know, like last year with Nkunku not getting in the team and it was just Jackson because of Palmer being there, that it almost is going to have this, he's going to have the same debate again if he sticks to a similar system. How does he get Delap and João Pedro in at the same time? That'll be a discussion. I really like Rogers, but if I was Rogers, hear me out on this, I would want to go to a team where I knew I was like going to play week in, week out and probably be the star man. and
He
not,
deserves.
Yeah, no, I think maybe he goes to a team. Villa's been really good for him, but you know, there's team. Maybe he's the Newcastle player that we're talking about. Do you know what I mean? Where he goes to Newcastle,
Ooh,
and then he goes.
Tonali, Morgan Rogers, and Bruno Guimaraes. Ooh, that makes it spicy.
Back to City is another shout as well. I don't know if Pep wants him. I'm not sure, but I think Morgan Rogers is a really good player. But if Chelsea could go and get themselves a left winger who's an out-and-out left winger and puts up serious numbers, I think that would be really good for this team.
Palmer has achieved fuck all compared to Wirtz.
I don't even know if factually that's true.
Yeah, Wirtz won the Bundesliga.
He's won the Champions League. He's won the Club World Cup. He's won the Conference League. He's played in the semi-final and the final of European competition for the national team. I'm not sure that's true. I don't think Wirtz has been on a billboard at Times Square either.
So, Mohammed, if you say that, Mohammed, I'm just gonna throw one at you. I need you to respond. If that is the case, do you believe that Szoboszlai is better than Palmer because he won the Premier League last season and the cups before? Is that something you think? Cole Palmer might have been one of the best players in the Premier League 2 seasons ago. You know what I mean? Like, he has had an unbelievable season. So for you to say that he hasn't achieved anything,
and
like,
numbers
and also
wise,
it's different.
Wirtz got close to his numbers as well. I don't know if he has.
No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't.
Palmer has won, guys in the chat. Palmer has won the Champions League. I know he has a medal for it for City.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes, to be honest with you. But so Mo Gerrard is that guy. Is that guy by their opinion? Gerrard is a great player, to be honest. Gerrard is a phenomenal player. Dom is different class. Okay, now we're being disingenuous, people. We're saying Dominic Szoboszlai is different class. But listen, it is what it is. But listen, people, we're just gonna end it here, guys. I hope that you guys like the show. Hit that like button, guys. At least get us to 400 likes before we go. Thank you for everyone that joined us. I might release a video later, or I might go live. We'll see how it goes. I appreciate you, Dan. Thanks for joining me, my man. It's a great show. Problem. Fantastic. I will see you guys soon. And we're out of here, people.